I'll probably post these two streams together tomorrow if I don't forget. So, all right. But yeah, I've just been doing this and that. I've been needing to catch up on some shows. Got to start today. I watched and I want to talk about this. We watched I watched the new the pilot of the Will and Grace reboot, and so my last stream on Wednesday, I talked about how I was kind of worried about how they would handle the new show based on the trailer kind of having some had the trailer had some worrying signs for me that it might go too much into topical pop culture jokes, which was a bad problem with the original show, especially in the last seasons. And yeah, the pilot at least kind of confirmed all those fears. Yeah, it was kind of rough to watch that pilot episode. It was really just trying too hard to be topical and go for contemporary humor, and it's gonna be really hard to watch in a couple years. Harder than this to watch now. But I mean, seriously, in the first 5 minutes, we had topical political jokes, topical um, societal jokes, celebrity jokes. But the worst part, the absolute worst part, was the totally forced and awkward millennial slang terms just thrown in and just said with the just absolute awkwardness on part of the characters. Just felt so forced and just really lame. And when I heard Deborah Messing say woke unironically, I was like, oh no, this is this is not good, not good at all. And then another problem I addressed in my last stream was I was kind of worrying because the previous series ended on a high note. It had a distant finale, and it showed the characters, as you know, it showed Will and Grace married to their respective partners, having children, and still recounting their friendship after years apart. In the end, and it was very sweet, and it ended the series on a very lovely high note. So I was kind of wondering how would they handle that. So the series proper ended, showing us what would happen in the future, and now they are rebooting the show to take place in between end of the show and the distant finale part of the show, and they handled it in the worst way possible, the absolute worst way, and I was shocked by how poorly this was done. So, Karen spaced out for whatever reason. Well, high, certainly drunk and high, and she kind of addresses, "Oh, like I had the strangest dream that you two were married and had children with other people." And then and they're like, "Yeah, that was a dream, though. I think Grace says, "Oh, yeah, I was married, but I'm divorcing him now." So they just totally override not just the final episode, but the final like she was okay. So in the final season, Grace got pregnant from a one night stand with her ex-husband Leo, who she does remarry in the finale. So for a large part of the season, she was pregnant. And so in this new reboot, they completely override that she ever was pregnant. Not just like the end of the scene, like the bit of the final episode where they see, oh, this is what happens 20 years later. No, they overwrite that and a large storyline in the final season just then and there. It's just really jarring. Just saying, oh, it was all a dream, or oh, it just never happens, which just really felt like a bitch move. But they just kind of, especially for longtime viewers like I watched that show. Well, kind of more like I started when it was still airing new episodes, maybe season 4 4 or 5, so I kind of came in late, well, quite late. But I caught it back on, like, got caught up on syndication and all that, and I was just really, like, astonished by how kind of flippant they were about just overriding the finale and then some of the previous series, and not helping at all was how bad, like, 90% at least, that's probably being very generous, of the humor was just pop culture jokes in this episode. Really lazy pop culture jokes. Just, and they combine that by, like, taking a dump on a really, heartwarming and pleasant finale to the show. Just really felt bitter to me. I mean, I understand that they were in a tough position because of how they ended the initial run. Um, so their hands were tied, and I don't know what they were thinking. I mean, something, but now it just kind of seems pathetic that we're gonna have to watch these people in their 40s, Will and Grace especially, still roommates, single, dating this person, that person. Even though they have respectable careers and all that. I mean, divorce isn't new or anything. Just, but the way it's set up is that they just wanted it to be exactly where they were in the heart of the series, and it in a very forced and contrived way. I don't even know if you could call it contrived. Just it's certainly forced and handled so sloppily, and with how the jokes went and the setup. I mean, okay, there's fantastical realism, which the show definitely falls into, but this pilot episode went way too far with the fantastical part. So much so that um, Grace gets a job remodeling, not remodeling, but redecorating the Oval Office because of a connection Karen had, which is just absurd. And then it was just, and also the whole episode was a rip off of a previous episode as well. Because the plot, a previous episode from the 9th season too, so not like the last season, so not even a very good episode to rip off, and a very recent one, relatively recent one, in line with the show where, Grace and Will are trying to hide doing something that they said they wouldn't from one another, and it was just so. And the episode, like their whole argument climax of a pillow fight in the Oval Office, and it was just way too silly. And I kind of should have, had my hopes kind of lowered after I heard, the commercial saying, "Oh, Will and Grace is funnier than ever," and I'm just like, anytime they say, when they have those like really glowing reviews like in their ads, I have to say, how cherry picked are those? I mean, of course they always are, but when they go that far, then it's like, oh yeah, I'm not gonna believe you. I certainly don't believe them now. Just, I mean, I'll still watch, but I'm not sure how long it'll be before I tap out on this reboot because it had a very, very bad start for me. So, I mean, it could get better. I mean, pilot episodes are usually kind of awkward and are compared to the rest of the show, but I guess we'll see how things go. I mean, I really want to keep watching, but again, I'll keep you guys up to date, and I'll let you know when I just can't take it anymore. Yeah. I mean, ugh. So yeah, but in the comments and chat, let me know what you guys think if you saw the Will and Grace reboot pilot.